It is match 2 on day 3 of competition at the Tokyo Metropolitan Gymnasium for Olympic qualifying. Rio 2016 is the target for both Venezuela and China, indeed all the 8 teams, but Iran at the moment lead the points spread ahead of Poland and France. Poland and France, the 2 favoured teams to go through. Iran, the 2 times Asian champions. Canada, by courtesy of their win over Australia, moved to 4th point and 4th overall. Australia in 5th. China, Japan and Venezuela making up the 8-team competition. And the Venezuelans, who've lost consecutive matches, both in 4 sets to Japan on the opening day and Australia before the rest day. Of course, Pinero, their chief point scorer. Rivas is the number 2, the wide attacking player. Carrasco is their setup. And China have kept a very strong defensive block. Losses to France, but then they overturned that with a brilliant straight sets victory over the host nation, Japan, in front of a packed house at this stadium. Zhao is the setter and the captain, the number 9. Yuan Ji is the opposite spiker, the top scorer for them in international play. Vincenzo Nacci, the young coach, the youngest and most inexperienced coach of all the other 7 in charge of their national teams, Italian-born. Took over as the Venezuelan senior coach in 2014. Described his role as a new adventure and an honour. Made the World League in 2015, so he had pretty significant results to make that tournament. Let's now stand for the national anthems of both nations.
Republic of Venezuela. The national anthem of the People's Republic of China.
8 teams, 4 places up for grabs for the Rio Olympics, and China
Thank you. Please take
sparked
your
their qualification process with a brilliant win over Japan. Venezuela yet to get off the mark, yet to score a point. The only team out of the 8 who have not scored a point at this tournament.
Presentation of the international referees. The first referee is Mr. Vladimir Simonovic from Serbia.
Vladimir Simonovic of Serbia, the first referee. And Arturo
The second referee
Di
is
Giacomo of
Mr.
Belgium.
Arturo Di Giacomo from Belgium.
Giacomo, who was the first referee in day 2 of competition. Now the starting lineups. China got their formula right against Japan.
Presentation of the starting players, liberos, and coaches.
Venezuela, number 3,
Fernando Gonzalez gets a start.
Number 9,
Jose Carrasco, Valencia, Pederoa, as you would imagine, John Lanquiada, Rivas, and Brosina is the libero.
number 19, Rivas.
It really does revolve around Venezuela's ability to transition quickly and play with rapid pace. Their blocking ability is not a strong point. Vincenzo Nacci, as we mentioned, took over in 2014, guided them to the World League in 2015. Young coach on the way up.
Number 2, Shin Yukai. Number 4, Cho Shin.
So Chen gets a start, so they've mixed up their lineup. Zhang and Zhong.
Cho Sui. Number 11, Ko Kim.
No start for Yuan Chi, the opposite spiker.
14, Tai Keiyo.
Geng Jin, Dai, who was so impressive against Japan.
Kaka.
And Tong Jihui is the libero.
Coach, Sha Kokshin.
Yu Guashen is their coach, who was the 6 years an assistant of the national team, but has certainly improved their stocks after failing to qualify for the London Olympics when he wasn't in charge of the lineup. He was then assistant. They captured bronze at the Asian Championship. National team player for 9 years for his country. Now leads his lineup as a coach. Rivas and Pederoa, the 2 main combatants for Venezuela. So certainly will be defense v attack. China with one of the best defenses in this 8-team competition. Rivas serving to start. Match 2 on day 3. Oh, clever tip over. Wonderful work by Chen Long-ha. Middle blocker who can play as an opposite. Young man with a big future. At the line now for China, leading 1-0 in the first set. And that's what they need, a lot of quick, rapid attacks. China outblocked to France despite losing their first match. They outblocked them 14-8. Point to China. And they monstered Japan in that department, 14 blocks to 3, despite being down on the spike count, but it was all about their defense against the host nation. Big serve by Dai. China keep it alive. tip over, but solid block there for Venezuela. A triple block, and he sends that to spike into the net. The wide hitter, Dai King Yao. Pinero at the line, the Venezuelan captain. Big serve, but it's out. Last time these two sides met, Olympic qualifying in Tokyo 2012, China won 3-1. They've met once at the Olympics. And Beijing hosted the games of 2008. Again, it was China, but this time it was 5 sets, 3-2 to the Chinese. Rebounds flying through the air, and that's impressive work. He's the attacking foil of Captain Kevin Pinero. So the third meeting between the two, China with a perfect record. And they serve at 4-3 first set. Pinero finds fingers. Edge of the block found, 4-all. 19 points, 16 spikes against Australia. No Venezuelan players have multiple blocks. In fact, only 4 successful blockers all match against the Australian lineup. So it's certainly a weak point that China can exploit. But it's China's defensive ability that has been the big factor for them in this tournament. Dai arriving deep and crunching it down to court for a 0.1 to China. 5-4 their lead. Ball return. Pinero arrives in time. 0.1. Great athleticism from the Venezuelan captain. It was a dig assist. Found the block, but could only go down the wrong side for China. 5-all. Oh, it's a rapid movement. Finished by Dai. And he was their chief protagonist with 12 points against the Japanese. 10 spikes, 2 blocks. For the once they get their confidence defensively at net, they're a really difficult team to hold out. Great work by the libero of China, and they finish it off. Zhang Weijun for the angle. And how about the work from Chu to keep China in the point? They go to the technical timeout with a lead of 8 points to 5. Zhang Chen with 4 blocks, and Chen Longhai with the same number against Japan with their impenetrable wall. Early signs of that form continuing here. Their lead 8-5, but they've added some attacking elements to their lineup so today against Venezuela. Zhang Chen at the line. Rivas denied. It's out wide for Long. And it's out. That was Dai doing some good work out wide. Dai King Yao. Tallest, second tallest man in the Chinese lineup of 205 centimetres. Plays for Beijing. Oh, Rivas gets the right connection, but the wrong direction. Timeout called. It's China in control with a 10-5 point spread, first set.
Seguimos muchachos, al bloqueo por favor, non desplazamos los brazos, dritti, dritti, damos riferimento bueno alla difesa por favor, se no un riferimento no es bueno por la difesa. Vamos, vamos, vamos. Vamos que se vaya, vamos que se vaya, vamos que se recupera.
Vincenzo Nucci wanting more from his team. Certainly can play up and down volleyball, that's for sure. When they're at their best, they're a hard team to hold out, but defensively they can be found wanting. China have made a solid start. Poor return. Oh, Penaroa finds the block for a point to Venezuela. They trail 6-10. Such an accomplished player, top scorer at the World Cup for them last year in Japan. And he's at it once again. Dai has started the match very impressively. The way he finished it against Japan. That's quick movement. A rapid attack by Venezuela, finished off by Edson Gonzalez. Edson Valencia Gonzalez flying through the air. That's an area they executed superbly against Japan, that really quick attack, early set. Not allowing Venezuela to get any sort of position on court, the front court with the block. Geng Jing doing the damage there for China, the tallest player in their team. Pereira sends that long. He's said that there's been far too many errors in this tournament. Vincenzo Nucci has implored his players just to take less risks in the match, but that's the type of style they have executed in the past to great effect. The table may tell a different story. Top of the net's conspiring against Geng Jin there. That's big. Very big indeed by Zhang Chen. Came up with 8 points, 4 spikes and 4 blocks against the Japanese. Geng with the float serve. Out wide for Rivas. Kept alive by China. And Dai has really started in fine fettle for the Chinese. 15-9 their advantage. The wide hitter avoided a triple block to great effect. clever work. Carrasco with that back set, inviting the leap of Pineroa, and he's directed it superbly. Off the top of the net. Has it found the court? It has. Tight call. They're thinking about the challenge. No, it's a timeout. 16-10 to China. First set. In control China, 16-10 first set. Looking for consecutive wins. Zhang Ten's cue directed perfectly. And from the line, it's Zhao Shui, the captain, after the timeout. One of the most experienced players in their lineup. Well, he got it all wrong, did Edson Valencia. Whether he thought he was a decoy leaper remains to be seen, but 17-10, China edged towards the first set. Zhao with a dipping serve, and that's quickly latched onto by Valencia. Rapid kill. Well, that's a poor option, China. Untidy front court, and Pineroa can't take advantage. He sends it wide. They want the challenge, and they'll get it, I'm sure, for a block touch. Vincenzo Nacho is pretty confident he'll get this decision, and in fact he will. You can see the fingers ripple. So Pineroa's collected the top of the block. Nachi relieved, and Venezuela get the point for 12-17. Oh, it drops in. So a real misjudgment there by Tong Jihua, the libero of China. That's well in. Timeout by China. Just losing a little bit of focus, but they still have the advantage. Venezuela on their serve trail, 13-17. Need to recapture their early set focus. China have let Venezuela back into the match with a couple of errors. Dive, sends it downwards, and the boot can't do the trick for Rivas. Point to China, 18-13. Giant of a man is Dao Qingyou. Serve with Zhang. China in the box seat. They float that wide. Well, Venezuela is one of those teams that if they go on a roll, they can be very difficult to stop. We haven't seen it too often, but Japan experienced that in the opening match in that first set. Rivas sends it into the net. Poor error. Service back with China at 19-14. Well, that's fallen in, just floated and caught the line. So relief, I'm sure, for Chen Long Hai. Well, there you go. That's how to split a line call. Hit a right, touch over Braun, but a violation front court. So point to China. Rivas replaced by Andy Rojas. Hitaroa. The block is out. Net was touched in any case. So Venezuela win the point. Always going to be really tough against a team as tall and strong as China. Come up with the right defensive structure to deny their offense. Weng was brilliant work, really quick in the transition. Zhong Wei-jun angling the kill cross court. The timeout, 22-15, the point spread in favor of China. First set.
Se puede, quando non è rapida la levantata, sempre sulla diagonale, ok? Stiamo in retraso, fuera da bloqueo, está atacando mucho, bastante, tenemos que estar. Okay.
Un poco más pegados los dos jugadores.
Sí, porque está atacando mucho aquí, aquí, ok? Vamos, e paramos en difesa.
Chinese have regained the focus and they lead 22-15, opening set against the winless Venezuela. Dai at the service line. Cracks a good one. That's wide. Fernando Gonzalez missing with that angled kill. Well, he went with a jump serve on the first one, Dai, then tried a little bit more of a conservative approach there. It didn't pay off. Little smile from the coach. I suppose you can afford to do so at the 6-point cushion. Pinaroa, the Venezuelan captain, off the tape. Good reaction there by China. Wei-jun. The set is good. And Dai arrives late. Oh, he kept him in the point brilliantly. Slapped down to court. Terrific rally. Pinaroa. Desperation from both teams. Fernando Gonzalez denied by a brilliant block. Set point for China. And the best rally of the match so far. They worked every angle of the court, both teams. Double change for Venezuela. Emerson Rodriguez coming in, along with Pays. China serving at set point. Oh, Zhong Wei-jun comes up with a big delivery on set point. Opening set goes to China. That's 4 consecutive sets in qualifying after sweeping Japan on day 2. And they win that set 24 or 25-16. The numbers China's way, 13 attacks to 11, 8 errors by Venezuela. China scrambled really well with 9 digs to 0 and a couple of blocks, but a lot more attention to their defence than Venezuela have produced in the first set. And the numbers match the result in that respect because China in control. Ready for another step forward. Iran have set the tempo for Asian teams at this qualifying tournament. Remember, one Asian team is guaranteed to go through, the top Asian ranked nation, but if a few can occupy a top 4 place, then they'll have multiple qualifiers from the region. At the moment, Iran occupy top place on the points table, but that may change before day's end. Poland and France to come, of course, later in the day. The question is, can Venezuela find a way back? We know at their best they can push teams. We've seen that, but their consistency is a concern for Vincenzo Nucci, their coach. It's about applying the right type of pressure on China, because we know defensively how strong they are. They keep things pretty simple. It's defense first, simple structures and attack. And they're building ahead of momentum in this tournament. Remember, they outblocked France in that opening match 14-8 despite losing. And certainly dominated Japan in that department in match 2. Similar start in match 3 against Venezuela. Can the South Americans find an answer? That's big. And they need Pinero to make some statements in their second set. Brings his points tally up to 7. Good desperation by Venezuela. Pinero off the wall and indiscretion at the net. Point to the South Americans. Oh, Zhang repelled by a solid challenge. Good defensive cover and a brilliant start. 3-love in the second set. Double block successful for Venezuela. Chiara and Pinero. Sluggish start by the Chinese in the second set. And they've left it, and a lack of real judgment there. It was falling well in. Valencia's on fire. Just swerving the ball into court. That's just dropping your mental guard. Time it sails long, but a good string of points. Stopped by a service error. Tipped over, clever. Really good work. Gengjin with the rapid reaction at the net. Since the opening. Tipping over for the Chinese winner. 2-4 they trail. Backward set perfect for Pinaroa. Top scorer at the World Cup last year for Venezuela with 121 points. Very healthy spike percentage as well. Approaching 50% in that tournament. Puts everything into that serve. Dies there. Repelled at the first asking. And the second one comes back the right way for China. Another effective block. Dai with the hands up at the right time. So he continues with his points tally, the leading point scorer for China in this match. Up to 8. Dai King Yao. Another stuff block of great quality. They're enjoying this fight back. Triple block effective. Zhong and Geng providing a defensive wall for China. Another huge serve from the back by Dai. On the back foot here, Venezuela. Quick transition. They stay in the point and off the top of the block. It's a good result there for Pinaroa. Smart play. Try to direct the top spun spike to the edge of the block, which he did. John Lamberto, the server for Venezuela. That's crisp work. Tremendous work. And Zhong just flying through the air and smacking it downwards for the point one. Zhang Chen, in fact, it was. Zhong Weijun misses the mark with the serve. 7-5 Venezuela. This is where they need to just maintain their concentration and momentum. Great defense by Venezuela. Second time of asking it, finds its way past the wall via a deflection. 6-7 to China. Venezuela have lost their their first two matches, both by 3-1 scorelines. So they've now lost their last 6 in total in World Olympic qualifying. Sharp by Valencia. 7-all. Timeout 8-7 with Rivas missing the mark, so China have staged the fight back in the second set. Dai King Yao, the top scorer in the match, 14 points. Pineroa leading marksman for Venezuela with 10. China with the advantage in the second set. Just looped over by Pineroa. Dai arrives in time, but the block is effective. Point to Venezuela. And that's certainly been a big improvement second set. Coach called for greater effort defensively at the change of ends, and he's got a good reaction, 8-all. Poor return. Rivas has to just stroke it back into court. They didn't take full toll and they were made to pay, so Venezuela missed the opportunity there. Just on their heels when China made that early mistake in the rally. Qinglong Hai settled the issue. All smiles for him. China lead 9-8. Second set. Rivas on the angle. Well directed. Second top scorer for Venezuela at the World Cup. Of course, they've qualified for one Olympic Games in Beijing, so has had success in this region, Venezuela. They sat equal ninth in that tournament. Brought to ground rapidly. Strong work by the leading scorer for China. Dai King Yao up to 16 points now. Well, he was made to stretch there, Valencia, but just got enough on it. The Chinese wall and block committing themselves. Had enough to deflect over 10-all. Second set. Flat serve. Good set by the Chinese captain and off the wall for a point one to the former Asian champions. Now that was a pretty fundamental error by Kiata. Just a one block to get past and dunk that straight into the net. So China with the edge and a 12-10 advantage at the timeout. Well, for Venezuela, it's all about consistency, just maintaining that energy. It came out of the blocks so rapidly the first 4 points of the set, but the ups and downs that have plagued their tournament have reappeared. And China are rock solid. They're just trying to grind their way into the match and grind their opponent into the ground. Just 1 point in it. Good option employed by Venezuela. And the first appearance for Jesus Perella. Just long. Pineroa just going for a bit too much on the serve. Back to 2 points the advantage to China. Guy with a big jumper. Outpointing Rivas. Great control by the big man. 205 centimetres of fury launching into that jump serve. And the returner got it all wrong. John Lunn, oh, touch over, it was brilliant. He saw the wall set itself. The block was in place and just thought there was only one option for me. I'm going over the top. And that's that inconsistency I'm referring to, just not stringing points together. At this level, you just cannot afford to gift your opponent easy points. Zhang with a looping serve, and that's very good indeed. Jesus Chiria Perella with his first point of this match. Great example of the way they picked Japan to pieces with the quick play, technical timeout. China the first to 16 points, leading by a set in the match.
现在拦网高嘛，高幅度高有效果了，他不敢打了，然后再加上那个10号一游去不用去。如果不拦网就重点换一下啊，先抓清楚啊，重点换一下。你这个留下来，清球抓起来啊，咱打得反击啊。加油！来，结束。
Certainly trying to become the Great Wall of China, this team. I'm referring to their defensive stocks. Been very strong in the tournament so far. Gong Zhen serving. There you go. Point to China. You heard the double noise, so it came off the block. Strong work by Zhang, the wing spiker, son of a former national team player. Played for over 10 years in the national lineup. Rivas directs it well. Had to hang in the air a long time, Vilna Rivas. See, decent hang time there and great control under the circumstance. Dai finds the block, but point alive here. Pinaroa. Good defense from the backcourt by Zhang. Point to China. Too much there from John Len. Through the double block. Chu, the libero, was quickly on it, but had just far too much power. Good work from the back of the court, and that's excellent stuff. Great return of serve, set the point up for China. Credit the libero with that. Tong Jiehua is replaced by Chu in the lineup now. China have the serve and a 19-15 advantage second set. Pinaroa, big block. has defined their tournament so far. Zhong Wei-jun with a hand supported ably by Chen. Advantage well and truly China's way. They lead by a set in 2015.
Confianza in todo, con la copertura, con todo, ok? Non sempre è possibile ganare il punto alla prima occasione. Un poco más de pazienza, por favor. Vamos, vamos, esta es la cosa que tenemos que hacer. Vamos.
Substitution by Venezuela. Number 19 out. Number 16, anthems.
Looking for their first points of the World Cup. Venezuela on the back foot, trailing by a set in 2015. Good scrambling by China. Great belief in the lineup, but it falls the wrong way for them. Off the arm swing, out wide from Zhong. Edson Valencia at the line. Poor serve, and that must be so frustrating for Vincenzo Narci, who's seen his team do plenty of good things in this match, but they've combined the good with the poor, and that's the problem. The issue is consistency. Chen serving. That's better. Jesus rises well. Emerson comes back in for Jose Carrasco. That's long. Well, should be leading from the front, Pinarello, but a couple of times he's made poor mistakes from the service. Leaves the points tally for Venezuela with 10. And it's China in the box seat, 22-17 their advantage. Second set. Dai with a huge serve. Tipped over. Advantage China. Repelled at the first attempt. The second one might be different. Now the block goes wide. Zhong gets the right result off the double block. Puts everything into the serve dive. The set centrally, Emerson, and that's wide. Another point to China. Set point. That's long. Dai just going for a little bit too much on set point. But they've got a very handy cushion. 4 points over Venezuela. Vilna comes back in. Vilna Rivas for Jonathan Chiara. Barreto just loops it into play. Big chance out wide here for China. They find the block and they have the set. 2 sets still have their advantage. It's been so consistent for the Chinese. 25-16, 25-18, and they are grinding Venezuela into the ground. Match 2 on day 3 of competition. The error count really costing Venezuela in that second set, 9-4 after that rapid start they made. 4 blocks to 3. China so much in control of that area. And 11 attacks to 10, pretty even on that count. But China just don't make too many errors under pressure. I think that's the big difference. Yoyogi Stadium hosting some colourful volleyball. Pressure laden though, because 8 teams are trying to force a passage to the Rio Olympics. Only 4 will qualify, and China have put themselves in a very good position. Because remember, Iran have got some tough matches to come. They have set the theme. And they play later today, Iran, on day 3. They face France, the second highest ranked nation, or second highest ranked nation in the tournament. Japan played Poland. So it could be a real big swing in the Asian zone in today's matches. They're on the same page as their coach, Ji Gushon. They enjoyed the spoils over Japan, did China, looking for consecutive straight set wins. He's pretty relaxed, isn't he, Kevin Pineroa? Doesn't get too animated on court. And perhaps that's what they need. Need this third set to engender some passion. Down 2 sets to love. It's Rivas at the line to commence the third. Dai rising well, first point, third set. Continuing with his points hoil, up to 15 now for Dai King Yao. Jonlin denied. Pineroa, another solid block. China have been all powering in that area in this tournament. Take that. Gang Jing coming up with a big move. This time the block found, but it skews out for a point to Venezuela. On the service now of Edson Valencia. Zhong sends it down. Look at the lack of defensive cover. Just reacted late, the double block. Allowed Zhong with that channel of opportunity, which he took. Dai with a huge serve. Jesus anticipated well. Venezuela haul a point back. 2-3 their trail in the third set. Completely bamboozled China's backcourt. A very clever serve. Pineroa usually goes for the jumper, but that time it was very much about spin and control. And the harder he hits, the more mistakes he makes, it seems. (4-3) to China. Zhong tips to the top of the tape. Rivas adjusted well. Jonlin over the top. Tipped over there by Zhong Weijun. Petaroa, off the foot. And even the football skills of Rivas couldn't keep it alive for Venezuela. Huge triple block there for China. Just must admire their organisation skills at the net. Irresistible defensively, they have been. Jonlin, great scramble. Now, credit that point to Chu Hui, the libero, 35-year-old, the oldest man in the Chinese lineup. Adjusted his body to keep it up for China. And it was Dai whose fist pump told the story. And it's the Chinese in control, leading 6-3, the timeout, third set.
Entonces con la ricezione che è più e con la levantata che è un poco más alta cerramos la línea. Chema, tú también. Sí, sí. Con los dos puntas, está atacando un poco más línea, no es fuerte, pero cerrándolo con medio la línea.
Vamos muchachos, seguimos.
They know opportunities and time are running out. All but nothing in this set for Venezuela. China can afford to take some risks at 2 sets to love up, but hasn't been their pattern throughout this tournament. Zhong Weijun serving and delivers a fearsome. That is big. Great spin and huge power, splitting the back court. Hector Mata, the libero, slow to react. 7-3. Variation by Zhong. Arriving, and in the nick of time and very successfully, is Vilna Rivas. They need more of that, and the thing that plagued them in the opening 2 sets has popped its head up again in set 3. 8-4 at the technical timeout to China. China wants to sweep another opponent. Sets conceded would certainly come into the equation if things are tight at the end of the 9 days of Olympic qualifying. And Leon for his first minutes of the match. Maybe seconds in the end, but Li Yambo, the middle blocker. China serving 8-4, their advantage. Wasn't that too vicious a serve, but they made hard work of it, Venezuela. And Zhong had too much on the kill. He's had a good match. Second top scorer for China behind Dai. Up to 10 points. Petaroa. Well, it's been a common theme double block, point to China, and their block count just rises and rises throughout the tournament. Up to double figures now in this match. Payers comes in. Venezuela chasing the match. China leading 10-4. And everything, and I mean everything, going their way. A placid serve by Geng Jin. Finds the tape. And I'm sure finds a bit of frustration on the Venezuelan side. Some fury in that spike by Rivas. China are right in it. Quick transition. And point one. Li Yanbo with his first point of the match. Geng floats it on the angle. Rivas had enough on the kill. Really tough to chase a match in this type of situation. Remember, they're playing against one of the best defensive combinations in this Olympic qualifying tournament. China are not going to give too much away defensively. Jesus with an ace. And they need a spark. Massive delivery, inside out. Backcourt perplexed, looking at each other. Another big jumper, this time it's out. Good serve by the captain. Oh, tipped over. We'll give him credit for the tip there. Edson Valencia got a couple wrong in that second set. He's worked that. That's the best way to get past the two-man block of China. Venezuela trails 7-13. And the second errant serve. Diaz overcooking it. Xi Dao Shui comes on, replacing the dangerous Zhong. So you figure by that move that Xi Gaoshen, the coach of China, feels it's under control. Helped over by Valencia. Faulted net, so point to Venezuela. The error count is just a cause of constant frustration for their coach. Andy Rojas replacing Rivas. Penaroa. Off the block. Point to Venezuela. Too much quality in the build-up, but they got the point, China. Passing game a little off at the moment. Technical timeout, but they're in control with a 7-point spread. Third set.
像这种越是这种乱球场，我就压住，哎，看能不能发上力，才能打出来点。
All blue sky at the moment for China. In the red, literally, Venezuela. 16-9, 2 sets to love. Dai with a big serve and a kill. Oh, that's just set up by the quality of the serve. Simply brilliant today, Dai, from that service action. Another well-directed violent effort off the serve, but this time it comes off the block for a Venezuelan point. Chief blocker, Xin Geng of China. And the 12 comes on, Rao Shuhan for the Chinese. And it's Yi at the service line. 18-10, the advantage to China. Oh, that's one area they've worked on, and it's reaped rewards in this tournament. Service of the Chinese has been really impressive. 19-10, timeout, third set.
Non sta pendiente per la 22 perché non ha. Ecco perché ti avvisa perché l'11 c'è la 22. Ehi, seguimos jogando, seguimos jogando. Vamos. Vamos, não empurrão.
You sense he's running out of instructions. Vincenzo Nacci, everything he's thrown at his players has come up in the minus category. Fault there by Xi, but they can afford to put a bit extra on the serve with that healthy point spread. Well, it worked out okay. I'm not sure he intended it in that direction, Rao Shuhao. Perhaps he did. Picked out the corner brilliantly. A really good tip reply there by Carlos Diaz. Jesus goes to the line, but Venezuela chasing the match at 12-20 in this third set. Jesus off the tape. In the middle. It's repelled once by Venezuela. The set is good out wide. And Dai finds the hands, I think he does. Edge of the block for 21-12. His form keeps on marching on. And service ace. Brilliant work by Lee Runming. So the squad being fully rotated in this third set. Splitting the Venezuelan backcourt. Edging China closer to victory. Better build up by Venezuela. Rojas finding the height out wide. It's a good quality return of serve and very quick in their attacking posture, China. Sharp work indeed, 23-13. Chu Jianjun comes in for the remaining points. Maybe just 1 point, depending on his service. Looping jumper. And that hits terra firma pretty quickly. Rojas with a good leap. Follows it up with a floating serve. Chai reacts well off that block. It's kept alive by China, but not for long. Edson Valencia settles the issue. Still, it's a sizable mountain to climb. Down 2 sets to love and trailing 15-23. Good defense by Valencia. And he sends that long, and that's a disappointing miss. Match point for China. Jonlin denied, and China sweep Valencia and Venezuela in consecutive sets. They've won 6 sets in a row in this World Olympic Qualifying Tournament. It's been impressive work, and as such their stocks have risen as far as their prospects to qualify for the Rio Games. 25-16 was the score in the opening set, and China march on with a very, very impressive sets 2 and 3, 25-18, 24-15. Dominated Venezuela in every department, and a thoroughly professional display by the Chinese, who missed out at qualification in 2012, but they want to overcome that hurdle here in Japan in 2016. All smiles for the Chinese squad, and Venezuela, well, they'll have to have a huge mountain to climb if they are to qualify for the Olympic Games. 11 attacks to 10, so China missed out in that respect, but 4 blocks to 0 tells the story. 7 errors by Venezuela in that third set. So it's been a match of errors for the South Americans. China have put themselves in a very strong position for Olympic qualification, depending on the other results, of course. And there's the match stats, pretty even in the attacks, but the errors were more than 2-1 in favour of China. 24 errors to 10 Venezuela made, and 10 blocks to 3. Well, they've outblocked 3 opponents in a row, including that first round loss to France. So China have been the huge blockers of this tournament. Carry them to 2 victories. And on day 4, they meet Poland, so that's going to be no easy task. Venezuela play Canada. And that's it for the day session on day 3 of Olympic qualifying. I hope you've enjoyed all the action.